It has been said that life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. It's also been said by shirts that baseball is life. Well, I'm not sure how either of those really work out in real life, but I know that as I've gotten to play baseball throughout the years, that I did really pick up on some things that baseball, wow, that really does relate to life, and that's really helped me get to where I am now and in the future. And so one of those things, the first thing is just practice. In life, we all have to practice every day. Whether you're an insurance salesman, you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you have continuing education classes you have to go to, or even before that you go to school to figure out what career you're going to go into, and so you're practicing and getting to the point where you go to those things. And in baseball I learned that, you know what, you have to keep practicing. As much as you don't want to, or you hate it, it's no fun. You have to practice, or your skills start to deteriorate. I've talked to some in here about, I had back surgery when I was a junior in high school, and that made me take a year and a half off of baseball. And when I came back, from the lack of practice, I did not have the same skill level that I did have, and then I was behind everybody else. So if you don't keep practicing, then people are going to overtake you, and you're not going to be the best that you can be. A basketball player said, when you are not practicing, remember someone somewhere is practicing, and when you meet him, he will win. I don't like losing, so I'm going to keep practicing. And then also in baseball, there's just fielding. There's general fielding practices. The difference between a good fielder and a bad fielder is really, it's all mental. Before the play comes, a good fielder knows exactly what he's going to do when he gets the ball. A bad fielder is he's not thinking about it at all before the play. So he gets the ball and he's, what do I do? Indecisive. And so with that, you have to have anticipation. Okay, if the ball comes to me this way, if there's a runner on first base, I'm the second baseman. If it's hit to my right, I'm going to go to second with it. If it's hit to my left, I'm going to go to first. And you don't make as many mistakes that way. And so it's the same in life. You have to plan. You plan for meetings. You plan your finances. You don't just. It's popular right now. Live in the moment. You got to live in the moment. And well, if I live in the moment, I'm going to spend all my money. And if something bad happens, I'm toast. And so really, it's helping you plan for the future. And so when you're going through life, you live in okay, what's going to happen next? How can I anticipate what's coming up next? And so Joe DiMaggio said, the phrase "off the crack of the bat," while romantic, is really meaningless, since the outfielder should be in motion long before he hears the sound of the ball meeting the bat. And so it's that anticipation and the planning that, okay, if the ball's outside, if you're an outfielder, if the ball's outside, I'm going to start moving that way, because that's where the guy's going to hit it. So the third thing is, in baseball, it's the only game where if you fail 7 times out of 10, you're going to the Hall of Fame. So in baseball, there's a lot of opportunities to really learn how to fail. And I mean, if you think about it, 7 times out of 10, wow, that's a lot. And so really that helps you learn people aren't perfect. You're not gonna get everything right every time. And so that really helped me to realize, okay, when I do fail, I need to figure out, when I do fail, when I'm at bat, I need to figure out what can I do next time so I won't fail. And so that's the same in life. And I had a friend in Little League, and he was still getting his mind wrapped around this failing concept. And I remember driving up to the Little League field one day and seeing him. He was pitching, and he got taken out of the game, and they moved him to center field. And I just remember him throwing his glove down and then laying on the ground and just banging the ground. Well, it was progress, because in high school he didn't do that. So he learned how to fail through baseball. And so we're not perfect. We're not going to do that. And so when you fail, you just really, you need to admit, I messed up, and then you move on. If you hurt somebody, you ask for forgiveness, and then you move on from there. And so it's really when you fail, figure out how to do it better the next time. And then in baseball, there's a closer. There's one guy on the team, that's his job. You're going to come in, you're going to finish the game out, make sure they don't score any runs, and get the job done. Well, Yogi Berra is another famous baseball player. He said, the game isn't over till it's over. That's why you need a closer. Somebody to come in and really finish well the game and make sure. And so that's the same in life. You have to finish well in life. And that's something I really saw in my grandfather. He was 93 years old at the end of his life, and he was in the hospital, and I remember this very distinctly. He was just struggling. He was just old age, and he's in the hospital there, and he had this oxygen thing that was forcing oxygen. It wasn't whatever the technical term is, but it was just the oxygen is forcing oxygen down into his lungs, and he said, is this thing keeping me alive? To my dad. And my dad said, well, I think so. He said, take it off. and then a little later, my dad said, well, let me pray for you. And so my dad prayed, and then my granddad looked up and said, I want to pray. And so, we couldn't hear him. He couldn't understand what he was saying, but that's a man who finished well. He was at the end of his life, and he said, you know what, it's time to go home, and I want to pray. I'm going to finish well. And so when I have that perspective in life, where do I want to be at the end of my life? Well, I'm going to practice so that I can get there. And then with the fielding, I'm going to plan. I'm going to anticipate where I want to go. And then as far as the failing, I know I'm going to fail. I'm not perfect, but I'm going to figure out how I can do better the next time. And when I do get there, I'm going to, Lord willing, do my best to finish well. Thank you.